First, I'm Adam Manis.
I'm Adam Manis.
And I'm Peter Martin. And you're listening to the You'll Hear It podcast.
That's what happens when you trade, buddy. I'm Adam Manis.
And I'm Adam Manis.
We're all Adam Manis.
And Caleb's Adam Manis.
Oh, that's what happens. We're talking about this is an audio first podcast.
Mm-hmm.
We don't let that big screen jar us at all.
Don't we, though?
Oh, that was interesting.
That was a gas.
That was a gas. What are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about the gas, Peter.
Yeah.
We've already talked about the jazz standard. This is the Great American Songbook Standards. Do you know what that means? I can tell by your eyes.
Yeah, we've got the jazz standards and we've got the gas standards.
That's kind of it. That's kind of it, yeah.
Well, I understand it, but I'm still not 100% I'm like on board adjacent at this point. Because my thing is like, to me, if you said, what's the greatest standard of all
Still got a foot
time?
hanging out of the airplane.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I mean, Lush Life, sue me. I love Lush Life by Billy Strayhorn. I feel like that's a gas standard. It's a gas, and it's a standard.
That is a jazz standard.
Jazz standard. Got it.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
gas standard means that it was written primarily for either Tin Pan Alley or a Broadway show.
So didactic.
Or even a movie soundtrack, a
prescriptive.
movie
Movie musical. Right.
And
What about a High School Musical?
Yep.
Or written for the movie High School Musical?
I think that's a perfectly good example of a Great American Songbook standard.
Yeah.
Now, these were written by people like Jerome Kern, Rodgers and Hart,
Rodgers and Hammerstein, perhaps?
Jules Stein,
Yep.
George Gershwin.
Carole King.
Well,
No? Stevie Wonder? No, okay, sorry. I'm still confused.
yeah, exactly. You know what I mean. These are like show tunes that jazz musicians in the mid 20th century made even more popular in some cases. And I think really
So Lionel Richie from Endless Love.
he still doesn't
Great
get
movie,
it.
1982.
He still doesn't get it.
That's from a movie.
We're talking about things like All the Things You Are, like I Remember You, like Embraceable You. Yeah. Oh, now he gets it, right? So these are those AABA style structured 32 bar tunes. Not all of them are 32 bars. You get the idea. It's that sort of like classic
Standards.
American standards.
Got it.
Yeah. But that's where we're going to start from. We're going to start with what's new.
So we've got 7 each, right? So we're going to kind of move through these.
Oh, that's right. We're going to count down from 7. Peter's going to do his first, then
We'll
his
go back
number
and
7, then I'll do my number 7, then his number 6, then my number 6,
And full
so
disclosure,
on and so forth.
we will be sending a telex down to Debossier and Debossier on this. Full disclosure,
Our lawyers.
I did not know
Yep.
that the counting down was going to be a thing. I thought it was just pick 7. Your message to me via text message, you sent me an SMS when I was in Mexico.
SMS.
And it said, come up with 7 of your favorite gas standards. And I said, what the hell is a gas?
Yeah,
I
we
thought
should-
it was this like an octane, a minimum
Honestly,
octane rating.
the more I hear it here in this episode, the more I think we should never, ever say this ever again.
So mine are not in any particular order.
Well, What's New kicks it off, which is a great way to start. It's a great tune.
Yeah. This is a great version too. I love this period of intros. Yeah, from McCoy Tyner. Like very lush but busy and interesting. Just quoting the melody here. And he plays goes to major. Is that kosher? I love it. It's a little bit of
I
a
have a little confusion about this.
yeah.
I thought that the A sections ended in minor.
Maybe they did originally, and that's part of the adaptation we're going to see on a lot of these tunes for the
Jazz
jazz
musicians will mess with the chord changes for sure.
This is such a great reading of this.
That's great.
Elvin just swinging out, very simply. Jimmy Garrison, two-feel walking ballad, and enabling Train to just very, he's doing some nice interpretations, but he's just playing very simply, especially for Train.
Absolutely.
Some nice little embellishments.
This is from John Coltrane's Ballads album. McCoy Tyner, Jimmy Garrison, Elvin Jones. Great pick there.
Yeah, and I think just for each of these, we could talk about like kind of what makes these standards so interesting, not just in the hands of a master like John Coltrane, but for us to play.
Well, they're so well written. The melodies are all exquisite.
Just that. Is that modal interchange?
It is modal interchange.
It is, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if that was
from C major to A flat major. That could be a part of C minor, that A flat. It could be like the 6th degree of C minor, and that's just like a secondary 2/5 heading to it.
But it's got a nice little like difference because you've got that and then that boom. When it goes on to the C minor.
Yeah.
Definitely playing around with the minor to major. to minor. And then, of course, the bridge is great. It's like, let's run it back, a fourth up kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
It's a great tune. It's fun to play.
It's a great tune.
Lyrics are killer
And,
on
you know, with all these, the lyrics,
Haggard,
the melodies.
Bob Haggart. Lyrics by Johnny Burke.
Really, really well done.
Yeah.
Start here and here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong
Next
with an
up,
octave.
oh, nothing wrong. We got Alone Together. This is from Benny Golson. Wynton Kelly on piano, PC, and Jimmy Cobb.
This is 1932, written in 1932.
By Arthur Schwartz and Howard Dietz.
Yes. That's our former accountants, by the way.
Schwartz and Dietz.
Schwartz and Dietz. They're excellent. Met them at the West County Mall in a booth.
Boy, okay.
This is kind of another major to minor play around. Right? Oh, wait. Fun fact.
Big time. Yeah.
Isn't this an ABA form?
It is AABC.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a really interesting one. Yeah.
There's the major,
Yeah.
and then right to minor.
It starts in D minor,
Yep.
and just a little turnaround back in D minor, and then to the 4-chord G minor.
Yep.
And then you have these and I wonder what the original changes.
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah.
Like a 2-5 as if it's going to A, B minor 7 to E7, and then a 2-5 to F major, with the relative major, and then a 2-5
Just briefly though,
as if it's going to D minor.
Yeah.
But the sun comes out. The bridge is the same bridge that Dizzy Gillespie used in A Night in Tunisia.
Yes. Tunisia.
And then the last section starts like the A section, but it's shorter.
Short 10.
Yeah, it's only
And that's probably
8
the kind of
bars.
thing. Or something like that, probably.
Yeah,
Sometimes-
it's so much fun to play over this one.
Yeah, and I think the changes on by themselves are fun, and it goes some interesting places. Like that thing. Whenever you have these older standards that go somewhere, and it might have been like to D major or something, but kind of adapted to that 2-5-1 that doesn't go anywhere, like B minor to E7, but then it goes somewhere real like what? But then you're like, oh, that's actually the 2-5-1 of the major. You know, the relative major. I mean, the tune's in D minor, but it feels like it's going to be an F major at that point. So it's like that's great stuff to play on. I always think about those kind of harmonic movements, progressions as being built-in interest for your lines. Like when normally we have to work to kind of play something interesting or put an alteration. When you've got B minor 7 to E7, G minor 7 to C, like all you have to do is just play something that's one continuous line, making the adjustment harmonically right as it changes. Later on, you can shift it, play over the bar line or whatever. But that's going to be pretty interesting in terms of the harmonic implications it puts on your melodic improvisation.
That's what makes it so special, is you can really mess with that, with the form and everything. All right, next up.
Okay, so I'm calling an easy one here.
Little Pete Cosma classic.
Newsflash. Autumn Leaves is a great American songbook standard. And of course, this way of playing the tune, really sort of exemplified and really laid out by this particular Miles Davis quintet and the one before it for sure. Herbie Hancock, Ron Carter, Tony Williams, of course.
Yeah, we talked about Maestro Ron Carter. I mean, he made that whole book out of versions of Autumn Leaves that have been recorded, because when he was in Miles' band and they were touring, Miles would literally get off a plane, walk on a stage, and Miles would start Autumn Leaves.
Yeah.
As a warm-up.
And then it was a lot of times their first time touching the instruments.
Yeah.
This was at the Antibes Festival, the one in the Pen. Great festival on the beach there in the Côte d'Azur in France. Yeah.
This tune is interesting. So, Autumn Leaves is the English language version of the French song The Dead Leaves.
Yeah.
Composed by... it's not Pete Cosma. I believe that's a hockey player. It's Joseph Cosma. And yeah, a little French tune with English lyrics by Johnny Mercer. And I mean, it is a jazz standard now for good reason. And this is the most standard we've done yet.
Yeah.
This is like one of your first tunes you'll learn.
You got to know this one.
The form is so great because it takes you through a major 2-5-1 and then a minor 2-5-1 in the relative minor. So in the key of B flat, C minor, F7, B flat major to the 4 chord, and then a minor 2-5 to the relative minor, G minor, A minor 7/2 diminished, D7 and G minor 7 in the bridge.
And then it kind of like stretches out a little on the bridge harmonically. Almost does it backwards, right?
Does it backwards, yeah.
Now we're going to the relative major. And then back to 2-5-1 of the minor. And then 2-5-1 to the 4. That's really the kind of like just so it's like
so much fun.
Yeah, and it's just like it's sort of a maybe we could consider it like a harmonically ergonomic tune.
Totally.
Especially for the piano. But obviously for every instrument. I know it as from the piano. But I think too for like bass players in terms of like all these interesting fourth movements, even when it's moving chromatically, it's like fourth bass, which of course on the bass is nice because of the way that it's strung out. But it really feels good to play. The more you're able to like internalize this form, the better you can play over it. So like I understand Miles and them just like playing it over and over again because it was like this. It's like stretching a canvas if you're a great painter. Like there's certain sizes you like and certain feel on the canvas, and then it's like give me something to play on this. This is a very it's potentially a super open type of a form, more so than it seems like. It seems very square in a way with the melody, especially if you hear the original version and stuff, but it really can be stretched out nicely.
Well, Keith Jarrett stretched it out for like 28 minutes.
Yeah. Keith who?
Next up is Frank Lesser's If I Were a Bell. This is Gerald Clayton. I love this tune. It's so much fun to play.
This intro's great.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people skip over the intro, and it's a great part of the tune.
This is from Gerald Clayton's Bond, the Paris Sessions album. It just shows you how malleable these old songs are. If I Were a Bell was written for Guys and Dolls.
That had a successful run on Broadway.
1950.
Melody sticking straight to it, obviously playing around with the harmony, the feel.
But even the harmony, he's playing around with it, but it's hitting the landmarks.
It is, yeah. And then when he leaves it, it's like some really interesting places. Like, and that, like having an interesting sort of ostinato that you can come back to. It's just a little bit off kilter. It's such an effective way to navigate it too.
The great Gerald Clayton, If I Were a Bell. Amazing version. Peter, next up, we've got our first appearance
I was getting interested
by
in that.
The Gershwins.
Oh.
You want to talk about malleable?
Hello.
Here's a version where we don't even really hear the melody.
Hello, George and Ira. Gershwin.
This is Embraceable You. Charlie Parker.
Yeah, not playing the melody at all.
Not the melody. No,
but just playing the shizit out of the changes.
Yeah. This was written in 1928 for an unpublished operetta named East is West. So good. There you go.
So this really begs the question.
Ooh.
What? Well, no, it's like maybe
Begs
this
the question.
So I think this is this one of mine? Yeah. So it's like
Put a pin in begs the question. Go ahead.
okay. Yeah. Is the greatness of this tune, can it be the harmonic foundation of it? Is that what, I mean, the melody is wonderful. The lyrics are wonderful. But Charlie Parker kind of pulls off, maybe he identified in this tune, the chord changes, the actual harmonic progression is enough that makes it a jazz standard. And I would say, yeah, because this one hasn't been changed as much. I mean, some people do change it, but like the way the Bird is playing it, like I think they stay there and then it's like they sneak up, like that's such an iconic way. Because otherwise, it's just kind of like you're meandering around. But the so even if you're like you already know it's Embraceable You just from that. I think you do. So, you know, not to say that it's not interesting, more interesting perhaps with the melody, if you're not Charlie Parker. But I do think it still is like its own thing, just the chord changes, you know, which a lot of these aren't like that, I wouldn't say, but some of them are.
So good.
I'm begging you a question.
Okay. So I used begs the question in a short a couple weeks ago and got some comments from people. I did not know this. Did you know that the way that you just used it and the way that I use it in the short is not the correct quote unquote way that
I did not, and I appreciate you letting me wax poetic on it many times before you informed me.
I didn't know either, man.
You could have kicked me under the table.
However,
or something.
we are right, and I'm gonna come back around to that.
Good.
We are right. So
well, that begs the question: are we right?
That's closer to. So when you say begs the question, what we're talking about is it raises the question, like it prompts, like, oh, is this right? In classical rhetoric and logic, begging the question or assuming the conclusion. Is an informal fallacy that occurs when an argument's premise assumes the truth of the conclusion. So like people have known for thousands of years the earth is round, therefore the earth is round, right? That's begging the question, is the earth round? With you already have the conclusion in the statement. So it's actually like a informal logic concept that people use as like raise the question, which isn't
like raise the bar?
Yeah, like I had these people in the comments who were like, that's not what that means, you're wrong. However, to those people, I will say, that's not how language works. Because when you just said, that begs the question, every single person who heard you say that knew exactly what you meant.
Right.
That you were like raising the question, right? Nobody was like, oh, is he talking about the philosophical, logical argument? No one's thinking that. Everybody's thinking of it in the context of how we use language today, where it begs the question means like,
well, that begs
raises the question and they're interchangeable. That's how language works. Right. Language evolves. So many phrases that we use did not start out meaning what they mean.
Right.
Begs the question is now one.
Like if I say, I'll give you another example of that.
Yeah.
If I say that new album that I heard today sucks.
Yeah.
The album doesn't actually suck on something. It means it's not good.
Right.
That begs the question, should we be using that term? I will defer on that. But I love the fact that like you're even considering the precision of all the things that we mess up, even with musical language on this podcast, the fact that we're going to expect to nail the nuances of begs the question versus raises the question.
I know.
I'm impressed.
It's my favorite.
Yeah.
But
I will remind you we're at number 10, counting down to number 1 too.
Okay. Good call. My number 10. I remember you.
This is what we came in on, isn't it?
This is a song written by Victor Schertzinger, lyrics by Johnny Mercer again.
Man, that dude could write a lyric.
Yeah, he really could.
He was like the Chat GPT of the 30s, 40s, and 50s.
And this is like the Chat GPT of the version of the song. You like
Chet
that?
Holmgren of the trumpet. Baker could really sing.
He had a whole album called Chet Baker Sings.
You should have called it Chet Baker Can Really Sing.
I remember you. You're the one who made my dreams come true.
So much fun. And again,
Man, how many vocals have stolen that kind of doom,
So this is-
that's stretching out.
It's A flat. So this was in 1941, and this is something that I've heard Herbie Hancock talk about. That people used to use this 7 dominant
half
a lot
step. Yeah,
more,
yeah.
and that's what's happening here. Although jazz musicians, we can't have just the dominant.
We got to add the 2, right?
We got to add the 2 to the situation, which
Yeah.
is what a lot of people do. It's what we did in key of F.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it so fun, though, is because
Chet adds that too, right? Yeah.
he has the 5 as well. Yeah.
The 2.
But adding that sort of like key
Yeah.
of A out of nowhere, which is what an E7 implies, right? It's
Well,
really, really fun.
it is.
Really, really fun.
And actually, for the piano, we always talk about like how does stuff feel and sound. So, like the key, he's doing an A flat. Right? Is that even more of a woo than? It kind of feels like it is. And then. So then.
Again, to the 4 chord. How
Yeah,
many
it's
of these
the
bridges
same.
are going to the 4 chord?
But there's one where it's like. That's another one that's nice. Like it's just like it's not as like woo, but it's like you're going. It's
Yeah.
built into the tune, and then to the 3.
It's another AABC.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great tune. Great version here, the Chet Baker, I Remember
is
You. That's from, I don't even know what album that was from. We have here from Let's Get Lost, the best of Chet Baker. I'm sure it was on an earlier recording.
Okay, so this next tune, I know when we did a dress rehearsal of this episode, you were a little bit like, "Mwah!"
I don't know this tune. It's
Yeah.
by Jimmy McHugh and Harold Adamson.
Yeah, I wanted to put at least a couple like lesser known, but I think they're just great standards that are every bit as quality as a Summertime or an Autumn Leaves or something. But for whatever reason, they aren't played all the time. They aren't. This is one that I actually learned from Christian McBride. I remember when he's like, "Do you know Where Are You?" I was like, "No," and he like sang it to me, and then like sat at the piano and showed it to me, and I was like, "Man, this is just a cool tune. It's a fun tune." And this is a recent recording. Joshua Redman and Gabrielle Cavassa, who I just got a chance to see the other day, who were touring through here with an interesting reading on this tune.
Oh, this is on a couple of really famous albums too. I do know this tune. It's on Go, Dexter Gordon. It's on The Bridge from Sonny Rollins.
Yep.
It's the title track on a Sinatra album from 1957. I know this tune. I just don't know it. I've never played it.
Yeah, we're just gonna listen to a little bit of this one.
Where are you? Where have you gone without me? I thought you
That's built into the tune.
cared about me. Where are you?
Yeah, and so the cool thing about this tune, we won't go into the whole thing of it, but like I always think like great standards, there's always like one thing that's like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like, and I think for like that's like for Embraceable You, and then a lot of times they're right at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
So this one. Like the other, let's do. So instead of going, it's like the reverse leading tone. And then this next part I think is cool. And then
beautiful.
and then that's so the first time it's the 2 regular minor 2 5 1. The second time it's it goes to a dominant 2 to 5, and I think that's from the original too. That wasn't a jazz musician thing. It's just one of those things that
Really
kind of links
effective.
up with it.
Again, so you're like, it does two 5s in a row.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's like a diminish.
Yeah. And then 2 dominant. 2 5. Yeah.
Something that Gershwin uses on But Not For Me as well.
Yep.
Is
Absolutely.
that 2 minor, the original But Not For Me. I'm going to do it in Some people, because there was a real book version of But Not For Me, they start off on the 2 chord every time, but actually it starts on the 1.
Right, and then the second time it goes.
Yeah, then it does the, which is very effective.
It's very effective,
Yeah.
and we're going to hear that next. Actually,
That's right.
in the effective hands of the Amal Jamal Trio. Ever heard of him? Live in person.
One,
Swing meter.
6,
Just turn on.
2, 5. Then 2 dominant. Super effective. This is a Majamal Live Pershing as if you didn't know.
Right. This is another one where like the melody's great, but the chord change, like the kind of economy of the chord changes, enables you to do stuff like this. And just that one simple thing of like, then it starts on the 1, 6, 2, 5, then 2 to 5, stretch it, then to the 4, of course. Me likey. Swing the gate, baby. This is like the original Jay Dilla right there. He's like behind Bo.
Sounds great.
Yeah, thank you. He's out of tune. I'm in tune. He's out of tune.
That is a Majamal Trio, But Not For Me. At the Pershing, But Not For Me.
Block chords much?
Woo, it's so good. Next up.
I just want to do this all day. I want to do this all day at Embraceable.
From one Gershwin to the next, Herbie Hancock, Summertime.
Ooh.
I love this version. This is from Gershwin's World.
Does it get any gassier than this?
Doesn't get any gassier than Gershwin. You can't say that.
You'd have to have a...
You gotta stop.
You'd have to...
You gotta stop saying it, Peter.
Stop!
Summertime.
Oh yeah, wait, who is...
Joni E. Mitchell.
Oh, that's right.
Joan E. Mitchell.
Joni.
Joan E. Mitchell.
Schwan.
Fish are jumping
Oh, I forgot how great this
in
record
the car inside.
Talk about malleable melody and harmony.
Your daddy's rich and your mama's good looking. So hush, little baby, don't you cry.
Another like Wayne E. Shorter. Even without like this interesting kind of arranged subchords, you've got the basics of this song are very
One of these mornings,
it's in the minor, but then the relative major is the resolution
you're
point.
gonna rise up.
So it's A minor. But then this becomes dominant.
Spread
And then the 2, is that a 4 or is that a 2? You know?
Yeah.
Now it's the 4.
sky.
Yeah, there's a lot of little.
Because it's going back to the minor. But it becomes a 2 next time.
Ain't no one's gonna harm you. Not with
So now it's the 2.
your daddy and mommy.
1, 6, 2, 5 to C major. But then back to that playing from the major to the minor.
Herbie Hancock from Gershwin's
I think that's
World.
Stevie Wonder too.
I believe that's Stevie Wonder, yeah. Wayne
Yeah, that
Shorter,
sound
Stevie Wonder, Joni Mitchell. I mean, you know, it's okay. It's a
If you're into
lineup.
all-stars playing gas.
Next up, we've got one of the best sounding Village Vanguard records ever. This is Brad Meldau's.
Question before you play that.
Yeah.
If you were to pull up in California, Los Angeles area, maybe Orange County perhaps, to a gas station, and Herbie Hancock, Stevie Wonder, and Joni Mitchell were to roll up, ready to pump gas for you, would it sound that beautiful? Okay, moving on.
Anyway, Brad Meldau, all the things you are live at a gas station.
Get it? Gas? Great American Songbook.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Good one. Good one. It's funny, right?
Well, due to Adam Manis, we're in the studio 2 hours later than we usually are.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, you guys.
No, he didn't.
I'm so sorry. They would sound great at the gas station.
Are you guys
You're
enjoying?
right.
You got to see the sun rise today. We're getting to see it set as well. I know the days are shorter, but they don't feel like it.
This is the Art of the Trio, Volume 4, back at the Village Vanguard.
The Art of the Podcast featuring Adam Manis. Oh, sorry.
This is All the Things You Are. Jerome Kern, one of the all-time greats.
Yeah.
Want to hear a band tune up?
Turn it up a little bit. Oh, they're tuning up. All right, this is Vanguard, right? Did this track influence your trajectory as a jazz musician by any chance? You and thousands of other little Adam Manises
So
around the
true.
world?
Anybody born between 1977 and 1990.
And today.
Yeah.
But it's like we have jazz musicians over the years that give us license in different ways of what's possible over these tunes. That's what makes the jazz stand. They might have been intended this way, but like he opened up a whole other doorway for jazz pianists to play on. It's all the things you are, right?
It's one of those sounds that it's like the Beatles in a way that it's like we just take for granted that because so many people play like this now.
Yeah.
There weren't a lot of people playing like this
Right.
in 1997 when this came out. There just weren't. You know? And I know people say, well, like, oh, like Keith Jarrett. Not quite.
No.
It's not quite the
No.
same.
Just because you can hear influences from somebody doesn't mean that that's,
It's his articulation and his time feel that are so now been ripped off by so many people.
Right.
His articulation and time were very distinct for that time.
right, for sure.
And then there's the whole harmonic thing too, which is pretty impressive.
Right. That's the first play. Like you're hearing the harmonic, now the melody's in there, right? Introducing, playing with it.
Jorge Rossi and Larry Grenadier on the bass. Incredible trio. All the
You like
things
this
you are. Jerome Kern, by the way, this tune as well, not just this version, but the tune is an all-timer. I still love playing this tune. I've played it 1,000 times. I'll play it 1,000 more. I really enjoy it. It's so well crafted. Talk about a well-crafted song.
Yeah.
And there's some details in this that get overlooked a little bit. So, we've done some deep dives on the original version. So a lot of people will play on the first time, which is not it.
Yeah.
Goes up to that B. And then the second time, same thing, but down a perfect fourth.
Same root movement.
Now,
Then here.
yeah,
No, I think it's.
that little melody movement, right. Yeah, that little. But then the chord going back in the original version is not a C7, it's an A flat augmented triad.
But we've never seen a chord that we didn't want to turn into the 5 of where we're going.
But
right?
isn't that a beautiful way to get voice leading wise?
Right. You could do this, but wouldn't you rather do this?
Or you're in E major.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
it's so nice.
That's what makes it that root movement.
And the melody stays on that G sharp A flat.
And then
So you have like a. There's a whole bunch of. Like if you look at it triadically, right? So you have an E major triad. It's the last chord of the bridge.
And then just the B moves up to C.
Right? A flat augmented, but now
F
the
line.
E moves up to F.
Excellent voice leading.
Incredible voice leading.
Yeah.
Just amazing. And then at the end, and then the original, I believe it's like it actually goes down from E flat to D relatively. Something
like
like
A flat
that.
over E flat.
Yeah, it's not not what we play as
Right.
jazz musicians.
That would make sense.
And then a lot of people do the melody.
No,
Original
sir.
melody is actually a couple of different things.
I thought it was.
There's two different versions. So there's
There's more
it's
than
from a
two.
show.
Yeah. Oh, who could?
The first male version does that, only up to the D flat. The female version,
Right. And then there's the castrata version.
yeah, exactly.
There we go.
So it's a really fascinating tune,
Yep.
and I just love it, man. I think it's so good.
Nice.
Next up is your number 2.
Yes.
Nearness of You.
It's weird.
Joshua Redman, Brad Meldo.
This was just coincidental that I used them again, but I was, it's a good one.
You like
this
those
is a
guys.
great ballad.
Do you?
This is. Hoagie Carmichael, of course, I was looking up lyrics by Ned Washington. Great lyrics on this one. You can hear on these, especially these great ballads, he's already playing little deconstructed fragments of the melody. Like you're inspired by the material that's to come. Like you can just play these tunes, but you can also take little parts of them without the responsibility of like, oh, I have to play the whole phrase or I have to play it correctly. It's like little Legos that you can take out and then improvise, and they're inspirational, I think. Because if you don't feel that way about it, is it really a gas? You know what I mean?
It's not a gas.
It's not
Oh,
a, yeah.
It's the worst.
Gas is the worst.
Gas is the worst.
Quite a- Melody's gonna start here at a certain point. And so this melody and the way they're approaching it now. So Josh just left the diatonic major for the first time. He went down to that, but it's all it's even as it goes different places, it's all within that major scale, right?
Hoagie.
So anytime you shift out of that is an opportunity for like, whoa. Or you can
Hoagie
just
knew his
stay-
way around a melody.
Yeah.
It's Nearness of You. Hoagie Carmichael wrote the tune.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And then even there, it sounds like it's going somewhere. It's like I think it's officially diminished, right? Major,
Yeah.
dimmu, dimmu, wee. But a lot of people, and this is another sort of jazz music, dimmu, 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 wee, to the 4 minor. And then, of course, the last time stretches it out.
Come on now.
Hey.
Come on now. Peter, let me ask you a question.
I'm Brad Miller. I'm back in the late 90s.
How do you feel about, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
How do you feel about Bronislav Kaper?
Well, yes, a big fan. Especially of this next tune of his.
Invitation by Caper Webster.
Caper Webster.
Bronislav Kaper wrote the tune. There's by Paul Francis Webster.
Right.
also wrote the lyrics to Shadow of Your Smile.
That's a good one. This is a more like adventurous, like built-in sort of jazz melody, right?
I, in fact, have never heard the lyrics to this.
No, I don't.
I don't know what the lyrics are because I've only played it like this, like Roy Hargrove here is.
That'd be a hard one to sing. Those.
It's from his album Nothing Serious. We are going to link to this playlist. We have this playlist of our 7 gas standards that still slay. Not unlike our 10 holiday classics that don't slay.
They don't. They different slay.
Different slay.
Slays up.
Slays up. All right. And this one, again, goes through all of these places. It takes us through this journey, right?
Yeah, and it's it's ostensibly in C minor.
Well, yeah.
But it ends in E flat minor, as opposed to like E, like you would expect maybe it end in the relative major, but it's like the relative minor, because the whole tune is. What would you say? This is in C minor?
It'd be so hard to sing.
That's what I'm saying.
It's in C minor.
I mean those.
Then the E flat. Is this in? Wait, is this in? This little journey here, down the whole steps.
And that's clearly going back to the tonic key of C minor.
It's like A, B, C. Or
Yeah.
A, B, A.
Yeah, because that was the bridge that we just played.
Is it an E flat?
That's what I'm saying. It ends in E flat minor, but then it jumps back down.
What key is Invitation in? C
Drop it in the comments.
Minor, because it starts on C minor, or E flat. If you think about it though, that C minor. This is going to a B flat 7.
Right.
It could be just like a 2-5 to the 5.
Well, it hits. I mean, like that 5th bar or 9th bar. Is that the tonic?
That's a good question. Because that's just
Bratislav.
Yeah.
Can we get Bratislav on the horn?
Bratislav? It's a great name. All right, Peter, you're number 1.
Now, I feel good about. Oh, I feel better about your number 1. I love both these tunes.
Your number 1, Gas.
You laughed at this last time. You like, really? That's your number 1? This is killing though.
It's kind of rando, isn't it?
No, it's
It's a
not.
little rando. This is killing. This is Jules Stein. Jules Stein is legend.
As is Oscar Peterson and his trio.
Yeah, sorry. Oscar Peterson playing. Jules Stein wrote the tune.
We're out of tune from the recordings for some.
All of the recordings?
Yeah. Just in time. Very simple, like swing. This one like lends itself to swinging hard. I will refer you to Shirley Horn's beautiful version of this.
Hey.
A little ice cream change to take you out. Try to find
You want to hear Jules Stein's ridiculous credits? Right? He wrote the Christmas Waltz. Don't Rain on My Parade. Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend. Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. Everything's Coming Up Roses. Guess I'll Hang My Tears Out to Dry. I Don't Want to Walk Without You. I Fall in Love Too Easily. Anchors Away. I'll Walk Alone. It's Been a Long, Long Time. It's You or No One. Great tune. Just in Time.
Nice.
Let It Snow, Let It Snow, Let It Snow. Make Someone Happy. People from Funny Girl.
People are the funniest people.
Time After Time. 3 Coins in the Fountain. That's an incredible list. Super talent. Julius Kerwin Stein.
Well, we are all the way up to your number one. Gas.
Bronislav.
He's back in the house.
Back. My number one is Timeless. Bronislav Caper, lyrics by Ned Washington. Caper Washington. Again, I know the lyrics,
But I prefer
but
the
they're
instrumental.
okay. Like Ned Washington, he's good. But Bronislav's the man.
Bill Evans Trio with Philly Joe Jones and Paul Chambers.
Come on.
Early Bill. If only Bill could play black chords correctly.
Doesn't get much better. So that's it, Peter. 10-1. What's new? Alone together. Autumn leaves. If I were a bell. Embraceable you. I remember you. Where are you? But not for me. Summertime. All the things you are. The nearness of you. Invitation. Just in time. And on green Dolphin Street. Now, are we saying that everybody should know all of these gas?
Absolutely.
tunes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
There's a couple you need to learn on here. And there's one I need to learn, at least. Wait, do I know all of them? It'd be good. This is fun, man.
Yeah, man.
Until next time.
You'll hear it.